Night's crazy night tonight, man. A lot of stuff going on.
Well, we're changing the subject.
You're changing up.
Yep. Instead of talking about AI, we're going to talk about school shootings.
Good.
And I'm going to be the asshole that says, we don't take away cars when someone gets run over. We don't put the parents in jail when a kid runs over somebody. So why are we taking away the guns or taking away the other?
Well, I don't say take away the guns either. I'm not for taking away nobody's guns, but I am an advocate for having people having certain types of guns.
Oh, I disagree. I'm sorry, but with the gun's a gun. And the fact is the places with the strictest gun laws have the most killings because the innocent people can't defend themselves. They don't have access to guns. But
yeah,
those
but I'm saying they can have access to it. You can have any gun.
Oh,
damn. I almost lost my.
Oh, so reducing the amount of weapon, the type of weapon. I'm sorry, I may want a high-powered gun because I want to be able to defend myself against
someone like you, yeah. Someone like you can get it. But my problem is,
why should it matter if it's like me versus someone else?
Well, no, I'm just saying is it's like with cars. You just can't jump in and drive a semi truck, right? Because you got a license. You just can't get in. You got to go get trained in that. You got to go get a CDL. You got to go get, you can't drive certain trucks. You can't drive just on the road, but until you go get trained at drive them. That's my stand. Is like, okay, you're going to have these things, but you got to get trained into having them. So you got to do, because you're 21, you can't get a CDL till you're 21. You can't get a CDL license. You can't drive a dump truck. You just can't jump in and drive dump trucks and drive them around the cities.
Your right to have a firearm shall not be infringed.
Your right to have certain
girl to defend an 18-year-old woman alone in her apartment should be able to defend herself if she wants
to. An AR-14.
Well, first off, it's called an AR-15.
15 is good, whatever it is. Yeah, AR-15. Yes. They got an AR. They got AR rifles. They got the. I would just put it this way.
I've just made you the host.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna start recording here.
What you don't understand is an AR-15 is like many other rifles, but with a really scary looking barrel.
Yeah. I'm just saying
it's not a machine gun. You have to.
I know it's not a machine gun, but certain people shouldn't have. You can't.
Machine gun. You access. That's not what we're talking about.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, you just can't jump up and go get an AR-15 right away without some kind of training, without some kind of responsibility.
No, they do have courses available and so forth, but you have a 3-day waiting period.
Right, but I'm saying no. I'm just saying
this should be how this kid got it.
You can't.
And most are done with a handgun, not an AR-15.
What is a 14 doing with AR? What is a 14-year-old having access for? 14 years old. Don't you think that's a little excessive? You shouldn't even be able to touch that gun at 14.
Guns before.
I know he has guns. Yeah, if he goes to a range or somebody that's controlling and shooting that way, I ain't got no problem with that. But
again, we don't know how the kid got the gun. We do know that a year ago he went on Discord and said he wanted to shoot up the school because kids were picking on him.
Right.
And the FBI got involved, and the police department got involved, and the school got involved.
And they didn't do anything.
Parents. And they told the father to keep guns away from the kid and keep him locked up. So they were talked about it. The kid said he didn't do it, and he wouldn't even joke about it. And they said maybe he should go to a different school or not go to that school, So they knew about it, and then they left it alone. There's no record of any more research or any more double checking on him, and maybe find out, is he okay? Why is he getting picked on? What's causing it all? No, just he had a gun. We decided, he really wasn't true. Let him keep going.
Yeah,
well, I'm sorry.
I just got a problem. People having access to guns at a certain age.
Hey, you sent them the link, right? So all the panelists have the link, correct?
All the panelists should have the link.
Okay. Yep. There's Jeff. He just.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Jeff, we've got you on the side of being against school shootings.
What? Against?
Oh, hey, Jeff. There's Jeff.
I think I can
Well,
I
we're
think I can-
switching sides because we got Joe Boy and Larry.
Even not 4
So-
school shootings. Do you really think I'm 4 school shootings?
Well, I don't know if I can
Yeah,
say that on
anybody
this.
for?
That's what I was going to open with, actually, is this is a weird panel. We're not necessarily political here. You know, on the left, we've got a libertarian, and on the right, we got a libertarian, and then we got Joe Boy, and then we got Ted. So,
I'm actually for AI. I'm for AI school shootings.
I know we'll do the AI again. We were having trouble framing it. Did you watch that video that you might have gotten sent?
Well, when I sat down on my computer, I saw the video. I didn't watch it, but I read your guys' comments.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah,
if I
okay,
wanna
watch it when you get a second. By the way, you're not coming in very loud. How's he coming in, Joe? It seems
Hello.
he's low. You're a little low.
Hold on.
Yeah, no. We'll just say that the video shows militarily what AI could do in the future, and it is unbelievably scary.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Yeah,
you, but
but
you're
you're
still
low.
light. You're still low for some reason.
I don't know what to do about that.
Okay, what can you do about that, usually? Because he hadn't had this problem before. I'm not used to him being this quiet.
All right. Huh. Other than I've been up since 3 in the morning.
Well, that sounds a little better. You
Yeah.
might have to just raise your voice an idget
Or be closer to your mic.
or be closer to the mic. Yeah, okay. I guess the mic's on the thing. It's not as if you can bring the mic closer, right?
There you go. I know you can do this one. Just say Joe Boy sucks really loud.
Joe Boy sucks.
Yeah. See,
We can hear.
I'll get an echo on that one.
Reverb.
oh my.
Yeah,
So,
anyway, you guys, we were having that discussion. Preliminary, me and Joe.
It's gonna be a lively one because and Tiberius said it himself. I says when a kid is driving a car and he accidentally hits somebody, they don't sue the car manufacturer and they don't make the parents go to jail because the kid hit somebody.
Yeah, if the kid if they gave him the keys and he was underage and had a license.
Somebody right now. No, there actually is a case that happened last week of these parents gave their kid a BMW and he was going 100 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone in a neighborhood and cracked up, and they're going after the parents on that one.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted.
I think.
Hi. Larry's our resident lawyer, so he may know if the parents go to jail if a kid runs over someone while driving a car. If a kid's learning to drive and he runs into somebody, does the parent go to jail for it?
If he's a juvenile.
If the kid's underage,
Well, I'm asking
he
Larry.
doesn't have a license.
All kids are underage until they're 18. Come on.
Right. If they don't have a permit or a license,
No, if they have a permit, if they're driving a car, they got their driver's permit,
right?
and they hit someone, does the parent go to jail or does
No.
the kid get punished?
Look, come on, Joe Boy. It depends
No.
on context. That
Yeah.
was tried up in Michigan. Some kid went to school. The parents ignored it. He shot a bunch of kids, got arrested. The parents took off. They're in jail.
Yeah.
They're
gotcha.
negligent.
They're in jail right now. That's right.
So it's case by case basis. I'm okay with that. I'm not
Yes.
saying all
Yeah, it's a
parents
case
are
by. Yeah.
innocent.
Yeah.
But if a kid
by
has if the kid has a permit, but he only have a permit where he has to drive with adult supervision, and they give him the keys and say, "Hey, go to the store," without them being in the car, wouldn't they be liable, Larry?
If
What if he's
The
with his
parents-
friend and they're at a party and everyone else is drunk and this kid decides he's going to save the day and drive home and save his kids from driving home and he runs into somebody even though he was sober? Does his parents go to jail for it?
No.
Case by case basis, exactly.
No.
Hey, Joe Boy. Joe Boy, you load Tiberius up with about 2 cases of beer and tell him to go down to 7-Eleven and get you some smokes, and he hits 3 people. Are you liable?
I beers, 3 beers. He couldn't walk to the car.
That's my point.
If-
Are you liable, Joe Boy? Yeah, of course you are.
If the kid has a license to drive by himself, that's different. But if a kid only has a permit to drive with an adult and you give him the keys and send him to the store without you being in that car with him, you are liable for contributing to that accident. Because you gave him the keys knowing that he has to be with an adult. He has to be with an adult, and you gave him the keys to send him off by himself in your car with the keys, and he hits somebody. Damn right they're coming after you. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha. Oh, by the way, just to remind you, we've done a couple shows like this where we had a long period of time to talk about it before we started. And then what would happen would be during the show, people had said, as you said earlier, but it was off camera. So just want y'all to know that anything y'all say now, don't be referring to it later. Just it'll be new as far as we're concerned. Are y'all all okay with going with school shootings?
No.
Uh-oh. Okay. Jeff, you're okay with it?
Yeah, I guess.
I know Ted's the
We'll-
one that's
we'll
been
do it.
looking at it. Ted and Joe Boy have been going back and forth all day. I have to listen to my producer every now and then. Joe Boy said this is a perfect time to do a topical show. AI can be discussed later.
True.
He's right.
No problem doing it. I don't think there's a valuable enough divide to make a discussion out of school shootings at this point.
Well, what
Bob,
you
but
missed-
I'll go with it.
I got it. What you missed on this, Larry, was Ted and Jeff are on the side of against school shootings.
Okay, so I'm going to be for school shootings. Got it.
There you go. That was easy. Yeah.
I wasn't
Oh,
going to say that on the main show, obviously, but it was because I thought the same thing. It's how the hell are we going to even talk about it? But I think we still can talk about it.
You know why I'm really mad at this whole issue is because a 14-year-old kid left school and came back with an AR-15. That's what really pisses
Exactly.
me off.
Yeah.
How does a
That-
kid
No.
walk out with an AR-15?
How did
That
he get
is
it?
a parental, here's what's going to happen.
Yep.
They're going to investigate it. They're going to look at it. But the kid's black. The parents are probably black. So it's going to be forgiven for under, he
No,
was
he's
in
not black.
whatever.
Oh, Jesus, Larry, that's so fucking
That's
racist.
a racist. I know you
Jesus.
that
I don't
racist.
know
Feel like because he's black.
Just
Oh,
watch.
the kid's not
And
gonna
the
say that.
odds are he's probably white based on the shootings that I've seen.
No, but,
Look at his
it's a
parents.
subset
You ain't-
of them.
you ain't
It's
no-
racist, and that's racist too to say obviously he's white. Exactly, but
That's racist as hell.
It doesn't matter.
What if I want to stereotype?
Like
Black
the
kid couldn't
should
afford that
have
gun.
firearm license to have
This
access
is,
to
a,
it.
this is a precursor of exactly how this show's going to go.
All right.
Yep.
Which could be quite fun for everybody else watching.
Look, and I just heard about this. And has the mother been convicted of a bunch of crimes?
She had 4 charges in 4 different counties. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, stemming
All
like
right, so
last
now-
3 or 4 years.
And the
Yes.
father was interviewed by the FBI
Last year.
last year.
The son
when the
denied.
kid said he was
The
going to
son
shoot up
denied
the
making
school.
the post. The father said he was never around guns unsupervised. I say the father is going to jail.
Yep.
Negligence.
Nobody going.
They find out how the kid got the firearm. It may be
Somebody going.
Yeah.
public knowledge yet.
yeah, because the kid lived, right? I mean, he's in custody right
he's in
now. isn't
custody,
he?
right?
That's what I thought.
But if he got
He
it from
went
another
back to
kid,
school.
if he got
What's
it from
that?
another kid, how's that the father's fault?
Yeah, but he didn't shoot anybody
Well,
back then.
No, I'm
He
saying
got
if he
to-
got the firearm from another kid.
All
how's that
right,
the
here we
father's
go
fault?
with the talk.
No, his dad had the gun.
But
Huh?
His dad had the gun.
but
We
here,
don't know.
here's the
They have
main
yet to
point.
figure out the kid got it.
A year ago, he didn't kill anybody. This time he killed somebody. Big difference.
You know, why is it that all of a sudden it's easy to say that the FBI or the school failed it? They didn't do anything back then. So you're going to open up a big Pandora's box. Like,
No,
Uh,
I want to know why.
just listen, Joe, but
it
just
happened.
listen.
They're not looking into
No,
the
Joe,
kid's
but
mental
just
state,
listen.
wondering why it happened.
Joe boy, just fucking listen.
I love this.
Christ.
I love it.
If you open that box, okay, the mother has had 4 issues with the law. The son did something so posting, so egregious it caught the FBI. Do you go in and look around the house and take all their guns right then? Is that when you do it? Well, when, do you put them on watch, constant watch? So how far are you going to go in an intrusion of personal freedom? You think the government does too much already?
Do we know whether or not the mother even lives with the child? Because if she does, then there wouldn't be guns in the house. Because if you get a bunch of charges, you're not allowed to have guns. So
It's
I
not
mean,
a gun-related
but we
issue.
don't
It was
know.
crimes and property crimes and stuff. Jesus. Read the stories.
Hey, Ted,
Yes.
What did you think of all those little bots coming out of the damn plane? Was that incredible? Did you see in that video I sent you, the AI? I'm trying to distract y'all because
Oh.
what I've learned is if we all of a sudden go into the show, you bring all the emotions and everything in on what we just talked about. Did you see that? You watched that video, right?
I thought it was too manipulative, obviously slanted to one side, making the extreme case.
Which side?
I will answer that saying that that's one small example compared to the thousands of cases that AI will improve scientific discoveries, better crops, better products, better molecules for healthcare, and better studies. Okay.
I
I'll
agree.
answer it that way.
The scary one is though, it is pretty scary. I want.
Hey,
Hey, Larry,
so-
did you watch that? Did you see that video or watch that video at all?
No, I didn't, but I've come to the firm conclusion that Ted needs adult supervision.
Yeah, you're right. I do. I'm just mad. This is the 45th school shooting of the year. You know, people around the world look at us like we're crazy. They think everybody goes to school with an AR-15.
Right, exactly. I'm 100% with Ted. Hey, Ted, I was explaining to Joe. This is why he was trying to take people taking away guns. I don't want to take people away guns, but you cannot jump up because you have a license because you're a certain age to go jump in a semi truck and drive it. You have to get a CDL license. You got to train to drive that truck. You just can't jump in a jump truck and start driving because you can drive. There's certain things in this rule.
Right.
Same thing. Same thing with the guns. Either make it where you have to be a certain age with the training to get that gun, because that's not infringing on your rights. Because you don't have a right to drive a 40-foot trailer truck automatically. You got to go get trained on that. You just can't jump in there, or a bus. You got to go
Right.
get trained. You got to get a CDL license.
Don-
You can't jump. You got to be 21 to even drive. That's a bus is a weapon too. You know.
In that line too, Don, is the fact that the AR-15, unlike other things like a deer rifle or a handgun, it was designed as a weapon of war. It was designed
Exactly.
to produce a lighter, faster bullet that tumbled and was extra lethal. It was designed for war.
Right.
And I think if you want to get an AR-15, you got to go to the county sheriff and justify why you want one. If you want one because they're really cool and everybody else has one, you don't get one.
Right.
If you're living in the outside of Montana and you do a lot of hiking, you're worried about a grizzly bear coming up, maybe. But you don't get one just because you think you can go down the corner rifle store and gun store and get one, even with a background check.
I think if you go to California, you need one.
Yeah, sure, Larry. I'm not real happy about things, Larry. I don't have a lot of sense of humor.
I
I'm
got
sorry.
it. Well, we're trying
I'm
to.
trying, Ted. I'm trying.
He's
Yeah,
trying.
right. Well,
Look,
Well,
Let's
look,
do the candy bar.
buddy. Hey, we're all as upset about it, actually, as you are, Ted. The problem is, what does one do? You know,
ban AR-15s, Bob.
yeah, but he would have just brought it. Well, one, the bad guys then have the AR-15s, or he'd have just brought
that's
a
always
different
the
gun.
excuse, yeah.
Well, no.
Sorry,
what
I
I'm
messed
saying,
up.
No, I'm saying that he would have done it with a different gun. Okay, he would
And
have
then
brought,
there might have been less damage and less victims.
I don't know. Yeah.
He
Could
shot
be.
15
Yes,
shots.
less
He
damage
went to
because
one
we
door,
can't
it was
use
locked.
forks anymore,
kid
but
saw-
only can use spoons.
Oh, Joe boy,
And then we'll have
again,
less damage.
Joe boy, let him go.
he came back to school. He went to algebra class. The door was locked. The kid saw he had a gun and the door was locked. He couldn't get in. He went to another school and he shot 9 to 15 shots by reports, just like that. You
No.
can't do that with a handgun, Joe Bob. You can't do that with a deer rifle.
There we go.
Or a bus.
Get it out. Sorry about that.
Well, it'd be an early.
Where's our peanut gallery?
Well, you could.
Where's
Well,
Pool Guy?
well, pool guy is not here. Steve should
Oh,
be here.
come
Don't
on.
worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
You got another
Don't worry
15
about it.
minutes.
Not here. Okay.
I got another 10 minutes at
It
least.
could
So.
be. Well, the problem is I put out the word that it was AI, and maybe people didn't want to hear that. That's all. I'm okay with it. Well, I just think, everybody's just got to be a little bit understanding here because we are all upset. I mean, nobody likes this, and we're all trying to figure out what to do, clearly, and that's what we need to talk about. Okay, Ted, your issue on just saying that this particular type of gun has got to be dealt with. Okay, fair
Yes.
statement. Okay, no question. parents, schools, you know, the fact that hell, we don't have places back in the day, this kid would have already possibly been locked away just because of that, but they cleared him. Why? How often do you hear about what with the one that tried to assassinate, what's his name, right? Didn't they know about him? Didn't they have reports of the Crooms kid? They did. And what happened? He's able to wander around with a dadgum what rangefinder and a this and a that, you know.
So,
I
and
mean,
so
you're
my
right,
question
man.
is,
it's bad. 45th shooting this
I want
year.
an ice
huh?
cream truck.
so my point is this, is that, you know, everybody, the GOP wants less government in your lives.
Right.
And then here comes the FBI, or here comes the local police department, which is a government agency, and
Right.
says, we have issues with your kid. All right. Then the kid goes and tries to shoot Trump. This kid walks into a high school a year later and shoots up a school. How come no one's blaming the parents?
Yeah.
Where's the parental control? How come nobody attacks the individual on this?
Right.
Everybody says it's the school's fault or it's the police fault. Why?
I know. Well, and of course in England, of course they just went nuts recently because of the stabbing of the 3 young girls. You know, the 3
Right.
kids. So.
Wait. We need to ban knives. Hold on.
Well,
And forks.
no, stop. I mean, listen. I want everybody to be respectful on this one. Okay, this is.
That's right.
Everybody understands why someone and why there is a cry out there to get rid of quote AR-15s. Okay, is there a need for them?
How about mental health for the kids?
Well, there you go.
The
That's
kids that are actually doing all this are the ones
Who's
that
going to pay for it, Joe boy?
on and being shot.
Joe boy, you going to raise your taxes to pay for it?
no problem. Elon Musk is going to jump in and he's going to
Oh,
save
yeah.
us tons of money in the government.
Make
Yeah,
it
you
for
bet.
curriculum.
Go right
He's
into his
gonna
pocket.
be the head of the new review committee, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
health class.
Instead of asking kids what gender they want to be this week, maybe they should work on what's wrong with
Well,
your
that's a
day.
cheap shot, Joe boy.
Are
Again,
you being, you know, how are you mentally? Are people picking on you? Looking at kids in the classroom and see how kids are getting picked on and why.
Okay.
Well, that was going to be my point.
All right. Well, we're almost ready. We're almost ready to start.
Mental illness.
Boy, is this going to be fun. So everybody be respectful. Don't yell over everybody. A little bit of that's
Yeah, it's my
okay.
fault. I yell. Sorry.
Well,
I
it's gonna be-
apologize. I'm yelling.
Hey, Ted, it's going to be Joe Boy. Joe Boy's going to be the one I'll be muting, okay? If I can. So I'm just saying you don't need to be hyper Joe Boy on a subject like this to stir everybody up. We're already stirred up, Joe. You got to be calm like Larry. A little bit of chill would be good, okay? Oh, we got to get, wait, let me get Tiberius in here because Tiberius wants to weigh in on it.
Oh, there you go.
Joe boy, you need some gum.
Huh?
You need some gum like Garrett.
Eagles.
Larry's just chewing the gum, man. You
There's Steve.
gotta keep the jaws moving.
Hey,
Just
Steve.
don't always.
Hey, I wasn't supposed to be here today.
Well,
Neither
the
was
thing
I.
is, you guys want to get fired up. You want to get fired up right now. So when your time of the show come on, you got the energy already exerted. So when you come on the show, you already got out your system. Now you can just be talking calmly.
By the way, I sent to Bob ChatGPT's response to his AI more of a threat or a blessing. And
It's
gave
a
fairly
catch-22.
candid response.
So if they want
What's
to
that? What did it say, Steve? By the way, we're not
is
talking
it-
about AI tonight.
we're
Switching to school shootings
switched
just
up.
because of the topical nature of
we
the
got to
school
tell
shooting.
Steve. Yeah, Steve doesn't know.
I didn't tell him.
Right.
Okay, Zoom.
School shooting. Got it.
They're going to do a school shooting. But anyway, back on the AI stuff, real quick. You can't get rid of it because some people love the AI. Like the sex AI.
Oops,
Uh,
we can't hear his thing.
How you gonna get rid of that? You know, you gotta get rid. You gonna get rid of AI. You gotta get rid of all of it, right?
All right. Well, we'll do the best we can. Everybody, like I said, be
Where
respectful.
is everybody?
Oh, and Don, there's supposed to be some new people jumping in. They may or may not have cameras, but one of them works with Tiberius, so it would be cool to be nice and
Okay.
welcome him. Okay. Fading to blue, black, whatever. Okay, resetting video timers.
It's football today.
Video thanks. Video timers on. Audio timer set. Syncing histogram. This is Joe Boy with WJHM102Jams.com recording Third Side Combo with your host, Bob Phipps. Starting in 5, 4, 3.
Just you and me today, Steve.
Welcome to the Third Side Convo with your host, Bob Phipps. Your panelists today are Ted Johnson, Jeff Barrett, Lawrence Haber, and why is this guy back? Joe Boy, and now your host, Bob Phipps.
Well, tonight we're going to switch it up a little bit. We were going to be talking about AI and what's the possible government role on it in the future. But because of the nature of our show, we wanted to be a little more topical. In Georgia was the 45th school shooting this year. And we need to talk about it. And it's going to raise some emotions here. There's a lot of issues that we've got to cover here. Why is it happening? What can we do? You know, you would think that, I mean, when I was a kid, oh, what were we worried about? All of a sudden, a fight between a couple of schools where somebody would all of a sudden bring out a belt. I mean, that was a big deal, you know, swinging a belt around. You know, those things didn't happen when I was a kid. So for those that are younger than me, which is most of the people watching the show, now you got to deal with somebody actually bringing a gun, and not only any gun, but we're going to talk about a specific gun that's a big issue today. So we don't have the normal division of people for it, people against it. We're all against it. But what can we do within the laws that we currently have? So school shootings, who's responsible? What can we do to stop? We're going to talk to our favorite San Francisco intellectual and writer, Ted John. Yeah, exactly. The Niners, #1 defense, by the way. I picked him in my fantasy draft last night. Ted, we're going to start with you. Tell us what are kind of the subjects we need to talk about before we get into the details. What do we need to do?
Okay, I think I've had this discussion many, many times the last couple of years with friends, very conservative friends, and they always ask, well, where do you draw the line? And I say, I know where I draw the line. AR-15s and automatic rifles and bump stocks and large magazines, just as everything designed for war does not need to be on the street. That's the line I draw. Simple banning, pay people to get them back. And of course, we're going to hear, oh, only the bad guys will have it. Well, it's a start. But that gun's got to go. It does too much damage. It's too lethal. It sends a high velocity projectile that hits your body, tumbles as it does. It rips through all your organs. That's why it's so deadly. Get it off the street.
Okay, Larry, we've got libertarians on both sides of the discussion today. What do you see as the issues with that, or just the whole school shootings? What's your opening?
The problem I have is the same problem that comes up every time. As soon as someone says, let's ban something in particular, you start the quote slippery slope down to banning completely. And so while I don't want anybody to have an AR-15 is what 17, whatever it is.
15. Yeah,
I would
15.
rather, yeah, I'm thinking of the
Cat, Steve.
Russian thing. Anyway, while I don't want anybody to have one, I have serious concerns about banning, and I would like to know more answers here, particularly how does a 14-year-old walk in with a gun that's as big as he is and nobody notices?
All right, Joe, what's your opening thoughts?
Me, okay. Well, I think we're looking at why this is happening, and we want to blame a piece of metal for the problem, but kids are being abused. Kids are being trashed or picked on, and they've always been picked on for years. But now with social media and how fast it happens, they're not picked on just in school. Now it's after school, and it's all day long, and no one's addressing that. No one's looking at these kids are in a mental state where their only way to fight back is to come out blasting, to come out crazy, and that's not what we want. We want to fix the problems where they're at, and not just go after let's go after the tool used to express their anger.
Yeah, back hell when I was in school, I would get bullied. I was a little guy, and I would just make sure I avoided the person bullying him. But you can't avoid anybody anymore, can you, Jeff?
No, you can't. And you can't just blame it on one thing, or it's quite a complex problem. I agree with just about everybody on the panel. And to add to Joe Boy, I think it's not only bullying's been around forever, but I just think because of the high tech social media, and also a lot of the curriculum that's changed over the years with schools. I mean, they got rid of the arts, they got rid of a lot of physical activities in school. They're only, relying on reading and math. I mean, I think a lot of these kids have a lot of build-up angst where they used to run it off on the playgrounds, use their creativity.
Right.
Whether it was in music or art or whatever, we don't provide them with any creative outlet. And the outlet they have is social media. And it's all war games and just these ridiculous games. It doesn't get back to the core of things, which would be
You look at the chat.
corral their emotions. And I think we should have some kind of curriculum in school for mental health. We have health class, we have gym class. Why couldn't we have a mental health class? Have an open forum discussion with kids, have therapists sit in with them. I mean, it'd be a start.
Well, they have a lot of that now. The administrations, obviously, of schools have grown tremendously since, I was in school. Hell, they had, a couple of high school counselors, and that was it. But we weren't shooting people. It didn't happen.
They were shooting people because they didn't have access to an AR-15.
15.
That's why. Joe Bob's got a good point. Kids get picked on. Back in the day, I got picked on. I got bullied in 8th grade. I didn't go home and get a gun. I didn't have
That's
it.
right.
We had guns in the back of our trucks.
Ted,
Come
we
on.
had exactly.
Well,
We had
good for
rifle
you.
clubs in high school back then. Not to be,
but-
they were in the school. I bet you
Absolutely.
they were locked up. What do you think, Ted?
Wow.
Yeah. Better supervision, maybe?
No, they were
What
in
do
the
you
back of
think?
the trucks hanging on the rack. With the kids, the older kids in high school always had guns in the back of their racks. That was normal. They weren't using them to shoot people because they said something mean to them. But they also weren't saying mean things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and berating them through social media and constant through their phone. Which part of that is a parent's fault for letting them have the phone. But now schools are requiring computers and access to kids to be able to get access to internet so they can do their homework. So they're going to
That's
get
right.
bullied and stuff get on more and more. It is a subject that has to be addressed. But saying we want to ban this gun or that gun, that's not the answer. It really isn't. You have to look at what's causing the problem. Why are kids being picked on 24/7? How can that be fixed? Should there be punishments or
Hey, Elizabeth.
distractions to stop kids from continuing to bully?
Okay,
And how bad
Joe.
would you
Well,
want
Hi,
hey, Joe, well,
Elizabeth.
it sounds like what we need to do is if we ban the social media, the percentage of kids being depressed and anxious these days is totally off the charts. Larry, so you would see not the banning of the guns the problem. What do you see to possibly get, handle just the overall mental health issue with kids these days?
That's a whole different subject than guns
I know.
at this point. So all I can offer is, yes, there should be more of that. But how, when, who pays for whatever, another subject.
Well, but banning social media might be more effective than banning the guns is what I'm getting at.
Here's one for you, Bob. Hey, my kid takes a gun that I thought was locked down. It wasn't locked down properly. He goes into a school and shoots up the school. What do you say we send the parents to jail? What about
Bingo.
that? Let's make a law for that.
Bingo.
That's right. They're supposed to lock it down.
Who agrees with Ted on that? Should the parents accept more responsibility, or should they be held
I
Absolutely.
responsible?
agree.
I agree,
The
absolutely.
minor.
Depends on the circumstances.
Well, what
course.
about the last one? What's
Faces.
okay?
Gotta put a
What's
whole bunch of
happened in the
guns.
last one specifically?
I
Anybody
agree,
know
I
the
agree.
specifics of this one? What was it? Yesterday, I guess.
We do not know
Yesterday?
how he got the
Yeah.
firearm yet.
Okay.
Okay, let's just say he just went home, opened the locked cabinet because he knew where the key was, and walked back to school with a full magazine and started shooting. Who's responsible?
Parents, you should never have
Yep.
known how to get
Are the
into.
parents responsible in this
cabinet.
situation? Should they be held responsible?
Yes,
That's right.
Absolutely.
Somewhat. Obvious.
Oh,
I also wanted to state that back to the social media.
If they had
I don't know if you guys knew this, but a
they
lot of the
should
big high tech
be
CEOs
trained
such
to
as
use those guns.
Jobs and Gates, they didn't let any of their kids play on iPhones or iPads or anything of the such, which I found very interesting. So
They knew something we didn't know, huh?
yeah, exactly. Yet here we are. We talked about how the responsibility of a parent. I mean, again, it's circumstance to circumstance. Age, I think, has a lot to do with it. I mean, if you're a young adult, I mean, it's pretty hard to hold the parents responsible. Now, in the cases where the parents gave access to the kids, or turned a blind eye, which is a case not too long ago that went to court and both parents were convicted.
Right.
I mean, to me, that was a good argument for bad parenting.
Gotcha. Larry, you had kids. Were they growing up in the age of social media and had to deal with this stuff?
On the cusp of it, and fortunately, they did not have the problems that younger kids are having right now. My kids are 38 and 35 now, so it's been a while.
Oh, damn.
But I would not want to be raising kids with all of what's out there right now. It'd be a disaster for everybody, which it is.
We discussed this earlier, and there was a book called The Anxiety Generation came out. Very good book. My daughter read it. Kids from 2010 on, that's when cell phones became prominent and social media grew. Snapchat grew. LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram obviously grew. It's the instant comparison. So granted, as bad and as anxiety inducing it is, you can be anxious, you can be full of anger, you can be mad, you can feel you're getting bullied. But if you don't have access to an AR-15, you're not going to kill anybody, or a gun. You're not going to kill anybody. You can get mad. You can call your parents. You can call a psychiatrist, but you're not going to kill anybody. Again, it's the last step, that deadly opening of the closet, the locked closet, supposedly, that's supposed to be put away.
Got it.
There you
All right,
go.
well,
Where
we're
do you
going to
put
go
your
ahead and take our first break. We got to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be starting up in a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop
Yeah.
shop. All
Go
your
ahead,
cigar
Steve.
needs, whether that's a
Parents,
brand new humidor,
parents.
a box of those new cigars you've been waiting
Yeah.
for.
Well, it's the conversation that we're having, that certain things you cannot get. I said this earlier. You cannot, because you can drive. You just can't jump in a school bus or a city bus or a dump truck or a semi trailer trucks. You just can't jump and drive them because you can drive. You got to get a good train. You got to get a CDL. You got to be a certain age and like that. Same things you can put with the guns. Not trying to take people's rights to have them, but you have to be trained. You have to have all the training for the.
Yeah, I don't think banning's going to do a damn thing. I
No,
think
not banning them.
I think the parents have to be put in jail.
Right.
You know, once the parents see there's consequences to them, they're going to be a hell of a lot more careful, as to how the weapons are handled and locked up. in their home.
All right, let's get back to the responsibility a little bit on the parent a little bit, and because I think that in these situations, if kids are having issues, and what about the school? So let's also talk about the school. The school knew about this. From what I understand, in this case, the FBI actually interviewed the kid a year ago. Ted, when you read into that, what did that make you think should have happened when they first found out these disturbing thoughts about he was threatening to shoot up a school back then? What should have happened?
Why didn't the parent or parents take away guns right then and there?
Yeah.
How come they
Bingo.
didn't fix the situation right there? Kept the guns in the house. They realized he might have been doing it. The kid denied it, that he wrote a bad message, but obviously when the FBI shows up, they have a pretty good idea why they're there. Well, so again, it comes down to parallel ability. It is not the schools and the police's complete responsibility. GOP, less government. Oh, now something like this happens. Oh, it's the school's fault, or it's the police fault. It's the government institution's fault. It's not the individual's fault. It's the
Ted,
parents'
I hear
fault.
about ones like this, and I know of a situation, one of my clients' kids, he actually just drew a picture of a stick figure with a knife in class, and he's in like 4 years of therapy, forced therapy by the school. I'm sitting here going, what did these people do a year ago? I don't understand what the schools are doing. And then he can go back to school. It's fine. Joe Boy,
That's
you read
different-
up on this
obviously
thing.
different
I
standards.
bet
from
they
school
had
districts.
money.
This seems like a way overaction.
The school
Much more of
is
an
just,
overreaction.
I'm sorry, but the schools are the one with the kids where he was shot. and there's no responsibility on them. I mean, my God, that's crazy. Joe Boy, what's your go for it?
Okay, well, here's my thinking is I have a son who goes to school, and the school he goes to does have police officers there with firearms to be able to defend children if there's an accident or something happens. And I pay extra, and I'm happy to do so to have that protection. Not every school is willing to or has the money to do so. I found out today that the Florida Lottery doesn't actually pay towards schools. It pays towards college grants. And so I know it says it does for schools. It doesn't actually go to schools. And I had someone from Orange County Public Schools say he doesn't get any of the money from lotteries. That's very disturbing to me because we could be using things to help with mental health and with making sure that the schools are safer. The fact is Tiberius isn't going to sit there and go to a school and think about shooting up. And he plays lots of video games and he's on the internet and things happen. And he's a well-rounded, good kid. Not everyone's out to get you. But when a school is notified there's a problem, they should be keeping up with it. They should be double checking, making sure the kid's mental state is okay. And if not, say, you know what? I don't want this kid in the school. They're allowed to do that. I've seen kids kicked out of school for way light offenses. Some of them are sexual in nature and so forth, but they're light in comparison to physically hurting someone. And yet, for some reason, the school has no responsibility. I kind of disagree with that.
Well, can we actually?
I said no responsibility. Still the parents' responsibility. Keep
Yeah,
going.
well, there's responsibility all around.
Right, both are responsible.
Okay, I'd like to hear Tiberius'
More on
thoughts
the
on
parent.
this. Tiberius, what? You're actually in those schools, aren't you?
Yeah, I actually am, and you know what? The thing is, this video is getting age restricted anyway. In fact, that kid is me. I did draw the picture, and in fact, I am still here.
Oh.
I've been in 3 years of therapy. I've been perfectly fine since then. So really, Ted, it really should be the individual's fault. In fact, I did get punished for it. So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, I wasn't talking about the stick figure. You didn't have to admit that. You said we didn't want it. It was I said it was somebody else. No, I'm saying on the whole school shooting issue. What do kids talk about this thing? That's what I'm saying. We've got a bunch of old people here. Tell us about school shootings from your perspective and the kids' perspective.
The thing that kids talk about in school shootings is that some people do it as a joke, some people do it for real. You have to figure out if they're doing it for real. Now, there's very different tactics that you can use. Mainly, it's therapy. But just having a regular counselor that's there in order to talk to kids and check up on them. That is the main thing that needs to happen. I have one at my school. My dad also pays for it. It's really helpful, especially in times of stress.
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions of Tiberius? We're not used to having him here on the panel.
No time is being used for this for me because that's just me.
That's pretty good to have him there.
he's right. He actually can't. Yeah, everybody understands. He keeps track of the timer, so he's putting all the time on Ted.
Well, he should.
As it
Well, he
should
should.
be.
All right, questions for Tiberius. We got him here. What anybody?
Do you
Anybody.
think it was fair what they required you to do for your
Tiberius?
drawing?
Some of it was an overreaction. Again, I do agree with what Ted said. As that was a very big overreaction. But I don't blame him. This is a very Christian school, private school. I do not agree because I know the position that they were in.
Tiberius, did they tell you can't make drawings of people holding knives ahead of time?
Yeah, no, they did not. They told me afterwards, obviously. But
Well,
no,
that's
but
yeah,
before
that was
time, no, they did
interesting.
not.
Yeah.
I actually, Tiberius, I want to know after 3 years of therapy, has your drawing skills gotten better? Like,
Yeah.
as-
Improved.
years
Wow.
forward.
Ah,
Much improved.
true comedian
I
there.
have a lot of drawing.
So you're saying he could draw something other than a knife? We don't want to get into that.
That's killing me here. Okay, then can I ask a question here? If we are looking at should we make the parents responsible? I think it really should be case by case, because if a kid is learning how to drive and while he's driving, he runs into somebody by accident, does the parent go to jail? Or does the kid get in trouble because he caused an accident? I don't know that it's always the parent's fault. It needs to be case by case. If
Of
it-
course,
if
that's
the guns are
logical.
secured and the kid gets into it anyway, at what point is it not secure enough? Because the kid memorized the parent's code. Does that make the parent
Well,
responsible?
Yes. Yes. It
So
does.
if a few parents actually went to jail over these, I mean, I don't think many of the school shooting parents have gone to jail, and if they have, that needs to be publicized a little better. But I don't think it's really
Exactly.
happened that much. I guess maybe once or twice. I don't know.
It might have happened a
45
few
shootings,
times.
right? That would
Well, I
maybe
have-
make the parents to realize that they can't, that they're going to jail if their son, or usually son, unfortunately, does something.
Yep.
But
Could
It
that
sounds like-
help, Larry? Could that
yeah,
help?
older guys too that shot up
If
the
it's
school.
necessary, we got to do it.
I agree.
You,
Okay. So
80%
you're
of
saying
them.
we should be making
you,
what, a spectacle or whatever you want to call it of some of these things, and
Absolutely.
One of them
Parents-
was, but apparently.
Parents need to know that there's the possibility of liability. Literally, that has just started recently. This one will make it even more so. Parents
Okay.
will start looking and going, I need to make sure the gun's locked or else. And that's what we need to go to.
So
That's
if
not
I
the
remember,
solution, but we need to go to that.
Not just,
if I remember the Columbine shooting, they did a documentary on it, and they talked about these two kids, Darren Klebold and Eric Harris. And they were building up an arsenal and they're building bombs in their bedrooms. The parents never came in and checked in their bedrooms. These are 17, 18-year-old boys in Columbine, Colorado. Okay, that's negligence. When a kid starts walking through, and I killed like 20 some odd kids and a couple people, and they didn't know what was going on. It took a couple months to build it up and do it. And that the parents knew nothing, that's negligence. They go to jail.
all right, this is getting interesting, and we've still got the final segment to go, but we've got to go on and talk to our sponsor and hear from them. The other thing we like to do is make sure that you watch and share. You're probably watching this after the fact. Please like and share and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and all the good stuff. And we will be right back with the Third Side Convo.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again.
yeah, that was yeah. What I think the parents should be like civil. Now,
Yes, sir.
if the parents gave that person the gun knowingly that that gun is not supposed to be used, and they gave it to him anyway, they should be liable for whatever happens.
they should be criminally liable, and a lot of
Exactly.
people won't get the point because they think they'll get off the criminal charges.
No,
They should be
no.
civilly liable, where a jury is going to take them down and empty their pockets. Once that starts happening, you'd be amazed how many locks are going to go onto gun cabinets,
Exactly.
and all that.
Well, they should put in the bank robbery rule. Like if you plan a bank robbery, whatever happens in that bank robbery, everybody goes.
Exactly.
So
If
you got
somebody
this
kills
gun-
somebody,
The
somebody
website
kills
again,
somebody, you're all screwed, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, back to the responsibility. I don't think we quite finished with that, but there was a case just recently of some parents that basically gave this kid this car, a high-powered car. He's driving 100 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, killed the person he was with, and they already are talking about the parents are responsible. Ted, if this was really made a big deal, they go out of their way. They try not to talk about who the school shooter is because you really don't, because the Columbine, as you talked about, that Columbine people, they're heroes to these people, right? Everybody talks about
were.
that. So what happens if we publicly take some parents to task?
I think that will really be effective because I think public shame does have an effect. People walk out the store and the people are looking at them. They're in the store and they're looking at them like, oh, you're the parent of that kid. That can have an effect. I think that basically, I think it's to the point where this is becoming more and more common. There's 300 million guns in this country. We're going to have to start throwing up roadblocks here and there to get this stuff done. You have to do it. Again, AR-15 is a way to go. Arresting parents for a parental negligence that cause harm to public safety. Yeah, I think
Got
it's going to have an effect.
If
Okay.
we're going to go on the gun thing, then the question is, in the cities that have the strictest gun laws, why do they have the most gun violence?
Okay.
I'm not sure that's the case, Joe Boy.
It
But-
is. That's the problem. The
You
most
mean
gun
like-
laws get the most gun violence because the people that cannot defend themselves, they're just walked over about the ones who don't follow the law.
All right. Well, Joe
This
Boy,
is in
that's a nice
Georgia, right?
talking point on the right. You know how much I love talking points. So let's handle that in another show. But Jeff, if we all of a sudden, let's assume we do
That's right.
say that
Cancel him.
AR-15s or something we don't want to have, that's still not going to stop the school shootings. Maybe less
it won't.
people will be killed. I guess. I don't know. Jeff, what's your thoughts for what we've got to do?
Well, I think aside from the guns, something that was brought up was it sounds like there's a big gap in security, federal, state agencies that don't communicate. I mean, how did they interview this kid a year ago and all these red flags, and it all went pretty much unresolved?
That was it.
Or like
It was a year
weren't they
ago.
allowed to keep guns in a house still? I mean, I don't understand. To me, I think there's just big gaps in federal and state agencies.
Yeah, it's
I
too
mean,
bad he wasn't set with having 3 years of therapy. The therapist would have probably recognized that he's so far off. Larry, how can we do something and still, remain a country? Because it is pretty crazy.
Unfortunately, I will go with what happens in countries that face this a lot, like Israel. Better defense, unfortunately, at a school with metal detectors, and that's just the life we're going to lead till we figure out another way out of it.
Horrible.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
What's
I
that,
mean,
Ted?
Dianne Feinstein, Senator Dianne Feinstein, 20 years ago passed. They had a school shooting in Stockton. This guy was mentally ill. He drove down from Oregon with an AR-16, sat outside of school, and picked off about 6 or 8 kids. Okay, she got a law passed in Senate, banned assault weapons.
Okay.
It was a ban that the NRA chiseled down to only last for 10 years. Mass shootings went way down. What happens after the ban comes up? We now have 45 school shootings, and AR-15s are everywhere. I think there's a correlation.
Correlation, not necessarily the reason for, Ted.
Well,
A lot of shootings.
let's put it this
happen
way.
during
It's
the
worth
ban.
looking
It
into.
still happens. So I mean, you can't correlate that. Sorry.
Yeah.
How do you know?
No,
that
I believe you can. I know Australia did. They banned assault weapons, and they haven't had a mass shooting, maybe 2 in the last 25 years.
All right. Well,
They
for the
didn't have that
okay,
many
the next few
before.
minutes, Joe Boy, we're going to go on the 30-second hourglass or our 30-second clock here. But is it really the root cause of the problem? What is the root cause of this problem, Ted? It is not the damn gun.
You're right. Oh,
What do-
better
yeah.
parenting, better education on parenting,
Okay.
maybe better income qualifications. People get trained in better jobs to have better stress in life, not stress their kids out or fault their kids for their breakdowns in social standing. We can go all over the place on
Excellent.
that.
Okay, good. Jeff, give me your 30 seconds on what do you see as the problem here?
Well, I agree with Ted as far as better education, better parenting, better support from government and state, actually protecting us.
Well, you mean when they find out about somebody and yeah.
Opening communication, putting egos aside. But again, it's just it's a complex.
All right, Larry, you're on for 30.
My 30 seconds worth is we need to get a handle on what guns can and can't do. I know Ted, for example, has mentioned that these are assault rifles. I've also read that while they look like them and they may be named like them, they're far from the type of assault rifles that he is describing that people can buy. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'd like to know it before we decide that we need to ban certain things, if we do it all.
Gotcha. Joe Boy.
I will agree with Ted. I know it's shocking, but I will agree with Ted. School shootings are bad, and we should look at ways to solve it. Yes, schools are part of responsibility. The parents are part of the responsibility. It should be case by case basis to deal with. I disagree that the gun is the problem and that we need to remove them and all that because it never works.
Okay,
And
your
so-
30 seconds is up. I'm going to give
Already?
you, I'm giving the next 30 seconds to Tiberius and take us home here. What do we got to do? What do you see?
Okay, the one thing we really have to do is make sure the kids are okay. I mean, again, I agree with Ted. Lock it up. Do not let them have access to it. But again, let them learn and also make sure that they're okay. Put a counselor in the school. Put anything you need in order to make sure that they don't do something like that and mess up. Please, just don't.
Excellent. Well, what an incredible show today. I don't know if we solved anything, but I think we made some points. I don't think there is enough responsibility. Everybody agrees, not enough responsibilities to be put on the schools or the parents. You know, and the discussion of AR-15s and guns, we're going to handle for another Second Amendment thing. Incredible show, guys. Again, like and subscribe. Just check us out on YouTube, and we will be back next week. Actually, we're going to be back next week. We're going to be doing something on, let's see, we've got Peter Gallo is going to be our guest moderator, our Scottish attorney. He wants to talk about ghost guns, which is going to bring in the Second Amendment, Ted. So I'm just letting you know now. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Third Side Convo. Thank you all.